What's up, YouTube? It's Heretic here. Welcome back as we take a look at Darkrai Turbo here today. This is a deck that actually just won the Florida Regionals, so at least a variant of it. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at this Darkrai deck and see what makes it so special in the current format. So obviously the deck is built around Darkrai-EX, which we run a full 4 copies of. Darkrai has a massive 180 HP, and unlike his partner Yveltal EX, who is not included in this deck, Darkrai retains the classic Dark-type weakness to fighting and resistance to Psychic, as opposed to Yveltal EX, who has the resistance to fighting and a weakness to Lightning. So no Zebstrika will not be countering this guy. Dark Pulse for 2 colorless is our primary attack, dealing 20 damage plus 20 more damage for every Darkness Energy attached to all of your Pokemon. This is outstanding with cards such as Max Elixir, the Oblivion Wing Yveltal, and Experience Share, all of which we are running in this list. So that will make Dark Pulse all the more dominant, and Dark Head is just kind of an interesting little attack that I guess could be useful in a very odd situation. Dark Head for 3 energy does 80, and if your opponent's active Pokemon is asleep, it does 80 more, so it would do then 160. The only situation I ever see this being more useful than Dark Pulse in is if you're up against like a Snorlax GX or something and they use Pulverizing Pancake, fall asleep, and stay asleep. You could then hit them for 160 if you don't have enough energy on the board to equal that number with Dark Pulse. But once you set up a mid-game, you can hit 200 pretty easily with Dark Pulse, so you really shouldn't ever need to use Dark Head. So for Darkrai, we have 3 Yveltal. And Yveltal, 130 HP, single prize attacker. We just use mainly for Oblivion Wing for 1 Darkness Energy. You deal 30 damage, so soften some stuff up. And then, more importantly, you attach a Darkness Energy from your discard pile to any one of your bench Pokemon. So this gets our Darkrai's charged up and ready to go. Next, we have 2 Shamans for draw power, just basic stuff. We have 1 Regirock. This guy has a unique ancient trait called Omega Barrier, just like Primal Groudon, where he is unaffected by all of your opponent's trainer cards except for Pokemon tools and stadiums. So basically they can't hammer energy off him, they can't Lysander him, anything like that. So he is safe on the bench with an EXP share attached and can just suck up Darkness Energy from anything that gets knocked out and will just sit there powering up Dark Pulse for the remainder of the game. So he's plenty useful in that front. And then we have 1 Giratina, since we don't really have enough room for a full Garbodor line and setup here. So Giratina able to use its ability, Devour Light, to take away the ability of every Break Evolution Pokemon, including the abilities of their previous evolutionary forms, which would come in handy if someone were to play Eon Mega. But this is mainly to deal with Greninja. I'm not going to lie about that. So you put this guy down against Greninja, and you have Parallel City and Delinquent to take out any Silent Labs that they might be running. So that is our Pokemon lineup. We're going to get into our trainers. We have 2 Enhanced Hammer. You could potentially cut down to 1 or even drop these completely if you feel that double colorless and double dragon decks are not present. I wouldn't recommend it personally, at least not going below 1, just because I think that double colorless energy is still a very prominent card in the format. Mega Mewtwo, Mega Rayquaza using it, Rainbow Road, all kinds of decks that could present problems for this one if we are not able to limit their opportunities. So definitely I think worth having 2 Enhanced Hammers. Next we have 2 Escape Ropes. I've opted to go this route rather than Floatstone since we run both EXP Share and Fighting Fury Belt. I didn't want to go too many different kinds of tools. So 2 Escape Ropes here, pretty useful, and then we have 4 Max Elixirs for plenty of energy acceleration. Early on, get our Darkrai damage output going. 1 Super Rod to bring energy back mid to late game to buff up the odds of hitting any late Max Elixirs. And then 4 Ultra Ball and 4 Verse Seeker, again, just the norm, like always. Supporters, we have 4 Sycamores, 3 Ends, 2 Lysanders, and then we have our 4 1-ofs, just like my Yveltal list, and other stuff that I've been going over lately. 1 Delinquent. This is also for the Greninja matchup. If they start running 2, 3, maybe even 4 copies of Silent Lab, being able to get rid of it. And then we have Olympia as another VS Seeker recyclable switching method. Kind of looks like, I guess, an uncloaked Blue Diamond from Steven Universe, maybe. I don't know. I guess I could start calling her Blue Diamond. Who cares? 1 Pokemon Center Lady for the Greninja matchup and the Yveltal matchup. And then one Team Flare Grunt, also mainly for the Yveltal matchup there as well. So that's just our tech supporters. We got one Parallel City to limit the bench against stuff like Mega Rayquaza and Rainbow Road. Also a good first turn against decks like Yveltal. Two Silent Lab. This is for the Volcanion matchup, which would otherwise just be a complete wash. We would just get dominated if we did not have Silent Lab. Volcanion decks typically don't run more than 2, at most 3 stadiums. So if you're careful with your stadium placement and your use of Delinquent, you can eventually, hopefully, Silent Lab lock them out for the rest of the game on their Steam Up ability, since most Volcanion lists I've seen do not run Delinquent right now. Pokemon tools, we have 3 Fighting Fury Belts for Darkrai primarily. You can also use it on Yveltal if you want. Get 170 HP on there. It's pretty bulky for a single prize. And then 2 EXP shares. Most games, one of these 2 is pretty much going to be reserved for Regirock. You can throw the other one on a Darkrai, I guess, or an Yveltal and just get a free charge up. It's pretty solid. And then 11 basic Darkness Energies to round out the list, enough for Max Elixir to work with and to be able to draw into consistently as well. So that is our Darkrai Turbo list, and so we're going to go ahead and get into some games here. Alright, so we start off against a Fire colorless. I don't know if that's one of those Rogue Typhlosion decks or something. So we're going to go ahead and call our coin toss here, and no dice. Alright, so Fatzilla is going to choose to go first. And we open with 3 Darkrai's. Okay, our opponent's got no basics, so we're just going to put one of these Darkrai's up in the active, and we're going to throw another one on the bench. And what do we have here? Oh, okay, so we got Handiwork, we got Captivating Pokepuff. Alright, so it looks like more, I guess it's not a Typhlosion, so we're going against the Houndoom, which is, I guess, still anti-meta, but is a little more meta than what we would, what I had originally thought that might be. So he's going to flip over a Bunnelby here, and we need to be ready for a lot of energy removal type stuff here, as he's going to go ahead and play an N. And so a lot of Flare Grunts, a lot of Crushing Hammers. Thankfully we don't have anything for him to Enhanced Hammer. So we do draw it into an Yveltal, which is definitely something we're going to want. And we can Ultra Ball here, discarding the Team Flare Grunt, which I'm not really all that gung-ho about right now. And we can also get rid of, let's see here, we could do the energy, or we could just do that. And let's see here, I'm going to go ahead and just grab the Regirock, which could be very useful down the stretch, I feel like. So we'll do that, and we will go ahead and attach this energy and Sycamore. Okay, so we do find an EXP share for the Regirock. We find a Fighting Fury Belt for the Darkrai, and we'll go ahead and pass the turn. And so if he Flare Grunts us, or yeah, there's Crushing Hammer, of course he flips Tails. If he discards our energy, we can just Escape Rope. Okay, yeah, which he does. We can Escape Rope into Yveltal and use that to start charging things up. So I think that's the route we're going to go. We do see he Trainer Mails there for an Ultra Ball, which he's then going to turn around and play. We're going to see 2 Talonflames go to the discard pile here. A Houndoom EX comes out of the deck. So interesting to see the Talonflames there. So he puts a Fire Energy down and Sycamores for a fresh 7. So 7 more cards going his way, and so we're going to be able to, like I said, Escape Rope, but that's going to bring up Houndoom, which has a much bigger body than Bunnelby is. We could also opt to Olympia. So we draw, we get a Darkness Energy here, so I think we actually, in this scenario, will go ahead and just use the Olympia, and we're going to switch out to our Yveltal here and Oblivion Wing. So we're going to get a Dark Energy onto Darkrai here. And we did see a Max Elixir and a Sycamore get discarded off of Burrow last turn. So he plays Captivating Pokepuff. He's going to force another Yveltal down onto our bench. So conceivably a Lysander target. We need to hope that he doesn't start milling our Versus Seekers away here. We also need to be very careful with this Escape Rope in our hand. If we get the knockout on Bunnelby, we can put ourselves in a decent spot. We got to hit it. Looks like one more time only. Yep, 60 HP. So we're going to take another double burrow here. He gets a Silent Lab, which doesn't really mean anything. And let's see what he gets here for the second one. Okay, just a Darkrai. That's fine. He's not really issuing KOs here or anything anyway, so we will, let's see, go ahead and just, I think, attach this energy here. And then we're just going to Oblivion Wing again. No reason to switch out into Darkrai here. Just go ahead and take that knockout and grab a prize card. So we hit Delinquent off the prizes. Not anything we can really make much use of at the moment. Maybe down the stretch, but right now I'm not really seeing a whole lot of use for it. Need to try and get some more energy on the board. Maybe he can mill some of our energy away. So we see he plays an N here. So we'll get 5 cards. And so we do find a Versus Seeker and a Max Elixir. He Captivating Pokepuffs us again, so he's going to get to look at what we have, but he doesn't get anything onto our bench. And then we're going to see Melting Horn, and he discards Shaman and N, so no energy, unfortunately. So we will Max Elixir. We do get an energy, so we can go ahead and just throw that. Let's see here. Let's throw that on the other Darkrai. And we can decide here if we want to maybe use an Escape Rope. Force him to switch Houndooms, since this one does not have any energy on it. And I think we just hold on to the rest of this. We force him to disrupt us, since we do have a Versus Seeker, which we can go to for the Olympia. And we'll Dark Pulse here for 110 damage, so plenty of damage there. Pretty solid hit. And force him to play Max Potion if he has it in hand. So instead he Lysanders up. And we'll see which way he goes here. If he went for the Regirock, then which it looks like he did. Okay, yeah, he went for the Regirock, which was a huge mistake, thanks to Omega Barrier. So, looks like our opponent goofed and then just forfeited the game. So we come away with a W. So, anyway, we're going to press on forward now and just, again, now he could have tried to Lysander the Yveltal with no energy, but we did have a Versus Seeker to grab Olympia back from the deck, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next game. Okay, so now it looks like we're going up against a Greninja, which could definitely be a trying matchup, assuming the Silent Labs are in the list, as Giratina is really our only way to deal with this, and we don't have a lot of parallel cities, so we're going to be relying on Delinquent more probably than not. So we're going to start with an Yveltal, which is a good starter. Be able to get a Darkrai on the bench, hopefully, and then we have an energy in hand, and we've got 3 Ns, so our first turn supporter is decided. We do find a Ultra Ball, so we can discard this energy as well as one of the Ns to go find a Darkrai. I'm going to go grab that out of the deck right now and try to start powering it up. We're going to see a Max Elixir here, which is going to find us an energy. So we can do that, and we can just play an N. Get a fresh hand here. We do find Silent Lab, which isn't really going to help outside of just Delinquent, but we're mainly going to want to be delinquenting away his Silent Labs. So we're going to go ahead and attach this energy, and we're just going to go ahead and pass the turn here. Not really much else to do. Maybe we catch him with only one Froakie, and we get the chance to Escape Rope. We see he puts down a Faded Town, which is much more favorable than if he were to put a Silent Lab into play. He does Sycamore here. We see a Greninja Break, another Sycamore, and a Versus Seeker all thrown into the discard. And he'll be able to use Aero Blitz. He does get the second Froakie down. So it looks like we're just going to take out one of those Froakies. We're definitely going to Versus Seeker here to get an N. And we'll be able to Escape Rope and bring Darkrai up into the active. We can also use Shaman here to our advantage. So we're going to go ahead, let's see, we draw Max Elixir, so we'll go ahead and play that, find another energy, get that on Darkrai. So we got enough energy to attack now, and let's see here, we're going to go ahead and Escape Rope. So we can force our way around the Bursting Balloon and into one of his Froakies, and then we can go ahead and Shaman here for some cards. So we find another Darkrai. We find an EXP share as well. So we can take advantage of that. We'll go ahead and throw this Darkrai down. We'll give it an experience share. And we will go ahead and play an N to take away that Aero Blitz. We do find our Giratina here, which is a big milestone to hit in this matchup. We definitely want to have that available, so we're going to toss that down right now. Max Elixir again, and we find 4 energies. Oh my goodness. Alright, so we will throw one of those onto Darkrai. And then we've got another one that we can just play at will right now if we want to. So I think we can actually just toss this one onto Shaman. And we'll go ahead and Dark Pulse here for plenty of damage. So lots of energy flooding the board just like that. We'll go ahead and grab a prize card. We find another Darkness Energy, so lots of good stuff. We have Versus Seeker available for next turn, so if he Aero Blitzes again, we can take advantage, although my money's going to be on Water Duplicates at this point. And he plays an Ace Trainer, so he's going to drop us down to a 3-card hand, and that's pretty awesome. That's a real good play right there. So we draw into 2 Fury Belts and a Parallel City. We can get Shaman off our bench. We would lose an energy in the process, though. So probably not something we're looking to do right now, as we do see Water Duplicates pull 3 Frogadiers out of the deck. And we draw into an Enhanced Hammer, which is not useful right now. So we will get a Fighting Fury Belt onto Darkrai. And we can put another one down on the Yveltal. And then we can just go ahead and Dark Pulse here and continue to take knockouts. We'd get 130 damage off that. Grab another prize card. And we get Shaman this time, which is going to serve us well. And especially since we still have that Parallel City in our hand, we would be able to, of course, at the cost of 1 energy, use Shaman to, or use Parallel to knock both Shamans off of our board. And then if we really need to get that energy back, Oblivion Wing is still a thing. But for now, we've got 5 energy on the board, so we're doing 130 damage. That's enough to knock out a regular Greninja or the Talonflame. And then if we can get a couple more down, we can take advantage of Greninja Break. So he's going to end us out of this hand. We're going to go back up to 4 cards. We do find Delinquent here. We also find Sycamore, as well as another Darkrai and an Ultra Ball. So we'll see if he is able to make something happen, or if he's forced to just Aero Blitz here again. And we don't have an N to counter this Aero Blitz, which he is going to use. So unless we top deck an N or a Versus Seeker, we are going to have to let this one stick around. We could try to make the Delinquent play here, but I think it's probably best that we just continue to try to flood the board with energy. We can grab Regirock off of that Ultra Ball, which would give us a place to store all of our excess energy down the stretch, particularly if we can find an EXP share to go with it. So we find a Darkness. We can go ahead and discard Delinquent and Darkrai off of this Ultra Ball and grab the Regirock. And with Giratina it being in play, we don't have to worry about this thing getting blown up by Greninja. Hopefully that remains the case. So we'll see, there's EXP share over here. We don't have to worry about that. So we're just going to go ahead and stick this energy. Let's see, what's the retreat cost on here? Yeah, we're going to stick it right there. And then we're going to go ahead and Professor Sycamore here. We do find the EXP share to toss onto Regirock. And then we can go ahead and, let's see, we don't have anything that's a free retreater, so we don't want to use the escape rope. So we're just going to go ahead and knock out Talonflame here. Pick up another prize card. We find a Team Flare Grunt, which probably isn't the best thing to have in this matchup, but it's whatever. So Greninja Break evolves now, so it's got 170 HP, so we do need to find one more energy if we want to one-shot it. We also have that Pokemon Center Lady sitting in our hand, and that's plenty useful as well. We do see a Splash Energy go down. Now, whether or not he decides to return that to his hand or not will remain to be seen. We do see he discards an Enhanced Hammer, a Max Potion, some other stuff. We see another Dive Ball, so another Greninja Break is going to come out. Giratina here is kind of... Giratina is what's saving our butt right here. So we see Froakie searched out of the deck with a Level Ball, and we'll see We got Moonlight Slash here. Does he bounce? He does not bounce his energy. Okay. Now we do have an Enhanced Hammer on hand, so we can get rid of that energy. And looking at the situation here, let's see. We're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're doing 150, so that's not quite enough to knock him out. So I think because we're not knocking him out, we're going to go and we're just going to grab this Greninja. And we're going to take this knockout. Continue to draw prize cards at the very least. And we find a Max Elixir, so that could do us some good next turn. If we don't get N down to 2. We've got quite a few weapons here on hand. We've got the Escape Rope still. We've got the Pokemon Center Lady. So plenty of options. We do see he plays a Verse Seeker here, but he opts for the Sycamore. That's an interesting decision. He would have gotten only one less card with an N and dropped us all the way down to 2 cards. That's also his last Versus Seeker. So we do see Wally, Faded Town. We have yet to see a Silent Lab. So he's going to hit us for 80 damage now, bouncing the energy back into his hand. And I think in this situation, let's see. All right, play this Max Elixir. There's the energy we were looking for. So we'll throw that onto Giratina. And then we can actually Pokemon Center Lady here to keep him from knocking us out next turn. And then we'll go ahead and Dark Pulse. And so he forfeits right there, knowing that he can't KO us here. We have the game in hand. Just 2 more attacks would do it. So after watching that, so we come away pretty darn well in that game. So because the first game went the way it did, we are going to go ahead. I'm going to do one more game for you guys. And if anything, we saw exactly why Greninja needs Silent Lab in that match right there. So we're going to go ahead and do one more. Okay, so it looks like we're going up against a Volcanion deck here. Aaron C. Okay, so let's flip the coin. Success, success, success. Go first. So we get to play against another big meta deck here, which is always good. We get the benefit of a mulligan here, too, which is very cool. So we'll try to make that work out our way. Let's see. Nothing really out of the ordinary. We see Switch, which is probably the strangest thing, and even that's not weird for a Volcanion. So we will get to draw. Hopefully we find, I think, an Yveltal, or either that or the Lone Giratina would be a good draw here, as we could just use it as a sacrificial lamb on the first turn. So we will draw, and that's not going to do it. Nope, that's not going to do it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and throw the Share on there, and we're going to throw an energy on here as well. And then we're going to play the N. Okay, so we find Darkrai, and we find a Max Elixir to go with it. So we do hit the Max Elixir. We get Darkrai running, and I'm gonna go ahead and do this parallel and reduce his damage here to prevent an explosive start. And that will also hopefully draw out one of his stadium cards so that we can take advantage of Silent Lab down the stretch. We do see he puts an energy on his Volcanion. He ends us back up to 6 cards, which is more than welcome, as we try to dig for either Olympia or Escape Rope. We do find a Rope, but we don't find anything to go with it. So he Float Stones his Volcanion. We'll see if he has a Max Elixir here. He does retreat, so I guess no Elixir, or else he would have played it right there. So we do hit a Versus Seeker, thankfully, so we can go Fighting Fury Belt there, another Darkrai, an Yveltal, and then we can Escape Rope into this Darkrai, and Versus Seeker into the N. So that is more than fine with me. Be able to redraw, and we do find our energy. We also find a Max Elixir. So a couple of things kind of fall in the right way there. We'll go ahead and play the Elixir, get a card, get an energy on that next Darkrai, and we'll attach one up front and launch a Dark Pulse attack here. So we get 110 damage just like that on the Yveltal EX, or not Yveltal EX, sorry, Volcanion EX. So we're running pretty well right there, pretty smoothly. And we do see an energy goes on to the baby Volcanion, which is about to come out, and he's got the nice pre-release promo going on there. So that'll be able to come out and lay down a little bit of damage. We'll see if he gets a Steam Up or 2 off here. Looks like we do see a second Volcanion EX. We see a Max Elixir. Alright, so he gets an energy onto the second one, and then Ultra Balls. Alright, so another Volcanion EX is going to come out, so I'm guessing he's got either a Shaman or a Sycamore sitting there. Alright, so there's a Sycamore. He's going to get a fresh 7. He's got 3 Volcanions, and he's going to be able to start launching Steam Ups here. Has not used one yet. So there's the first one. Alright, so right now, the 20 damage here is neutralized out by the Parallel City, so we're at 60 damage now. See another baby Volk put down, and he's going to be able to hit us for 60 and accelerate a pair of energy. So we're going to have to go into the Silent Lab right here after, well, actually before. We're actually not going to get to Shaman here. So we are going to see 2 energies. One goes here and one goes on. Okay, so he avoids charging up the damaged one pretty much. So we can Silent Lab, and then we're going to go ahead and discard these 2 useless cards to go grab another Yveltal, and we're going to throw that down and play an N. Okay, so we hit an Elixir. Go ahead and use that. Get the Darkrai charged up, and then we can actually just go put the next Darkrai down and start working on that one. And we're going to get a knockout here off of Dark Pulse. Alright, so we find Shaman, which isn't really going to help us. But Silent Lab hopefully will. He does have a Float Stone on this Volcanion, so of course he can bring it up pretty fearlessly. We see a Max Elixir. And that's going to finish charging up this Volcanion now, up to 3 energies. We see another Float Stone, goes onto that same Volcanion. He knocks out our Stadium. Yikes, that sucks. Only got 1 energy in there. 5 on board. And here comes the Steam Up. Alright, so he's going to switch. He did Steam Up once, so he's got enough to KO us. We're going to get End here. Okay, so we get... Oh, cool. Of course, it's a little too late for Pokemon Center Lady now. See, Max Elixir. He misses it this time. And there is Volcanic Heat, so 160 damage. We will move an energy, so our Regirock will pick up one of those energies, and we can try to make something happen now going down the stretch. We do find a Max Elixir, which we can play. Miss it this time, though. So we'll go ahead and throw another energy on Darkrai, and Shaman here for a few. Try to find another Silent Lab here. Alright, so we find an EXP share, and we're going to want to end him down. So we're going to end him down off this Verse Seeker to a 4-card hand. And unfortunately no Silent Lab or Fighting Fury Belt there. So we're just going to Dark Pulse here for 140. We're going to get plenty of damage. He does have the Float Stone, but he doesn't have a lot of energy. He needs a Max Elixir and an attachment to use Volcanic Heat again this turn. Alright, so he throws an energy onto his Volcanion. And we see a Pokemon Catcher, and he gets heads with it. Oh my goodness. Alright, so he's able to bring up Shaman. Now, if he can get 3 Steam Ups here, we do see... Alright, so he does have the energy retrieval. So he's able to launch at least 2. Alright, so there's 2 out of 3. And then we'll see if he's got another energy retrieval or just another energy. We do see... Okay, we see... So just see a Versus Seeker there. He's going to Sycamore and be able to maintain it. We do see, importantly, though, another Scorched Earth hits the discard pile. And he plays Faded Town, so continuing to use up those stadiums, which works out well for us if we can get into a Silent Lab. Another Pokemon Catcher is played. He flips heads again. So I'm not really sure what that's going to do. He brings up a Darkrai. And if he has a switch here, he could retreat for free and then switch back in. We do see a Max Elixir. So he gets an energy onto another fresh Volcanion. Retreats into Baby Volcanion. And we will see a Power Heater here for 80 damage. So the second Volcanion is fully charged. The third one is 1 energy away. And we do draw a Silent Lab, which is very, very important here. So we can put that down. And we can also attach an energy and use this Pokemon Center Lady to heal some damage. And then we'll Dark Pulse here for more than enough damage to take a KO. And we find a Super Rod in the prizes. Alright. So now we need to start KOing the big Volcanions. So he's going to Sycamore, throw a whole bunch of stuff away. We see all of his Max Elixirs are used up. So we'll see if he's able to get any more energy down here. Looks like he's going to just hit us with Volcanic Heat. Let's see if he has anything else he can play here. And nope. Alright, so we take 130 damage. Okay, so we draw another energy, so we should be able to attach this somewhere. Let's probably put it on the Shaman so that we'd still be able to retreat it. 150, not bad. So we will just attach that energy. What do we have in the discard? Do we have any energy down here? We do have 1. We can also shuffle Darkrai and Shaman back in. So we can send all of that back into the deck. And then we'll go ahead and Sycamore. Get a fresh hand of 7. And so we find some decent stuff here. And we actually do have enough on the board now to just blow this thing up. And that's going to put us in winning position. He's gonna have to end us down to 2 here, which is going to be the obvious play as we knock out that Volcanion and put ourselves in a great spot. And so if he wants to Lysander, he will have to not attack. So assuming he hits us, he's going to have to end us here down to 2. He does have 1 Versus Seeker left. We see an energy retrieval, so that can turn into 2 Steam Ups. And let's see what he decides to do with this. Instead, we see an energy go onto the Baby Volcanion, so he is going to go that route, of course. Try not to yield 2 prizes on the next turn. And also take this knockout. We see an Ultra Ball. So, actually, I don't know why I was saying about 2 Steam Ups. He can't turn that into any Steam Ups without overriding the stadium. So we do see he grabs a Shaman. I don't know how much good that's going to serve him unless he's just planning on Sycamoring it away. But that would seem kind of silly. So he really does need to play an N here. So he puts the Shaman down instead, and I don't know what's... I mean, unless he's just trying to overall clear out the deck, I don't know what good that does him. He hits us for 20, fails to knock us out. We have Lysander in hand, which can win us the game. We do see he's going to get a couple energy back. That's not really relevant, as we can just Lysander. Okay, so he just forfeits the game right there. So Darkrai is able to take control with the help of Silent Lab to overcome Volcanion, just like we did with Giratina to overcome Greninja. So we see our ability locking methods working out pretty well. So that is Turbo Darkrai for Standard, and I'm Heretic. I will see you guys next time. Cheers.